Hello, guys.
Hello, Mr. Putumi.
David, how's it?
Fine. Well,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know. I'm having this what they calling this avatar showing on my screen. I don't know. I can't see myself. Can you see me?
No, no. Can you please just switch
Okay.
on
I
your
think I
camera?
probably must have locked my video.
Yeah, YouTube, and give the permission to do that. Yeah. Miracle, I see that you're online. Can you please allow the permission to share your audio and your camera? Yeah. I can't hear you, Miracle. I can see your face, but I can't hear you.
Okay, can you see me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, Putumi.
Yeah. Afternoon, man. How's it?
Very fine, no? Very fine. How is South Africa today?
Cool, cool. Let me speak about Johannesburg. Yeah, the weather is great. I'm not sure about the other areas, Cape Town and Eastern Cape. Yeah, but um, yeah, it's been a lovely like spring, and yeah, summer is definitely here. Yeah, it's getting hotter and hotter.
All right.
Yeah, success. Are you there?
Yes, 100% please. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, yeah. I'm thinking,
yeah.
yeah, like I don't. Maybe you can try to rejoin. But like you should be able to switch your camera on and off.
Okay. All right, no problem. Just a minute, I'm coming.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna. Is Ino joining us?
Yeah, she sent a message. She's rounding up a class currently, so she'll be joining us pretty soon.
Okay, cool. No, that's fine. Yeah. I think you can just get ready from your side, and yeah, I want us to start like in the next like minute or so.
All right, no problem.
Sure. Um, okay. I think Success will join us shortly. I think in the meantime, I just want you to introduce yourself. Who is Miracle? Which country you from? What do you do? And share a bit about your experience in the design space.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm Miracle, and I'm a product designer and also
Yeah,
a software developer. Um, Currently, working for two startups in Nigeria, and
yeah,
I'm in Nigeria. So, and
yeah,
most of my works have been remotely. Been working remotely for over 5 years in the design space. And currently, for me, the design space, it's been all about product development for me in the design space, especially within Nigeria, and
yeah.
working for Nigerians, whether they are in the country, or they are somewhere in the UK or somewhere outside the country. So it's just been like that for me. And for me, it's I'm very passionate about product development. I'm very passionate about creating interaction, user interactions, user experiences, um, you know, good user experiences. Yeah, in products.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
my exploits. Yeah, all this way.
Yeah, like I don't know why, because I just get the feeling that Nigerians love the UK, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because I keep getting that over time, you know, repetitively. Yeah, so no, man, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, so I don't know if Success is joining us, but if he does come back, yeah, I'll just ask him to introduce himself. But I think in the interest of time, I just want us to, to get started. Thanks a lot, for the introduction, Miracle. And yeah, I mean, it was great, you know, to have you even in the previous sessions. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to, to reach out to the African designers and to grow the community, and to have people to be interested, to share their knowledge, and also to be interested to share our own, like, African perspective. So yeah, I think as we engage in these conversations, I want us to be able to, like, elevate the good work that is being done in the African perspective, so that we can show some amazing work that is being done by the African startups, that we can, like, all, like, aspire to and reference. And yeah, so I think at some point, like, it's great that we can speak about Uber, because a lot more people will know about Uber. But it's also great that we start digging, and we become more intentional about sharing an African view about what design means, and also to actually uh, to be more vocal about what an African design experience looks like, and so yeah, I see Success is back. Yeah, hi Success.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, cool man.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
apologies.
just joined. You just joined in time. So I've already asked Miracle to introduce himself. He's done so, and yeah, I'll be happy for you to just to jump in. Tell us who you are and what's your involvement in the design space. Which country you're from, and yeah, anything else that you might feel would be worth sharing. Please do so.
All right, my name is Success Abulime. I'm from Nigeria, but currently I'm based in UK at the moment, and I'm a designer as well, and I'm actually a product manager that's into design, and I've been into it for quite some time now. And
Yeah.
as well, I work alongside with Mr. Miracle, and he was the one who introduced me to this platform. And
Okay.
yeah, and at the moment I'm a freelancer as well, and also
Sure.
I
Sure.
also
Sure.
design website too. And what else again do I do? I'm also a business analyst as well. So in the sense I do a lot of things, but basically my passion is in design because of its principle and what it involves. Because design revolves around everything we do. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you. It sounds like you are running. You need to catch up. Catch a breath. So I'm gonna, like, leave you to relax a bit. Yeah. No. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining us. Success. Yeah. We also had, like, the lady from the UK, Pabalo, last week. Yeah. She'll be presenting sometime soon. Yeah, but yeah, anyways, man, yeah, thanks out, yeah, to have you guys. And please, Miracle, I'm gonna hand over to you. I want us to take this opportunity to talk about what it means to coordinate the design thinking ideology, and I want us to share our own perspective and experiences about design thinking and the challenges that we've had. I'd love us to to elaborate a bit on that. And yeah, if you guys, for those who are watching, please share your comments. You can say hi, and share any questions you have. I see Brian. He's saying hi, everyone. Yeah, hi, Brian. And I see there's also Masambo. Yeah, hi, Masambo. So yeah, anyone who's streaming, please drop your comments. And if you're great, it's okay. We'll share your hi as well. That's good enough as a form of engagement. And if you do have questions or comments, please drop them. And yeah, I will definitely, try as much as possible to share them, and hopefully we can address some of them, if not all. Cool. Greetings, yeah. Hi, Moses. Cool, guys.
Hi, Mr. Moses.
Sure. Cool, man. Let me hand over to you, Miracle.
All right. Okay. So let me just share my screen. Yeah. Okay. I can't see myself right now, but I believe you can see me, and you can also see the screen that I'm sharing. Okay, can you all see my screen? Can you all see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right, great. All right. So it's a great day. Thank you, Mr. Patumi, for this opportunity. I'm really excited about designs when it comes to Africa, right? I've seen the development of design in the African space. Of course, being a software developer for quite some time, and I was very much engrossed in software development, for a while. So, but then, thankfully, for some persons who came around my space who were into design, started making me to be more deliberate about the design world in general. And I found out that what makes you a good designer is exactly what makes you a good person, in real life, right? It's all about being a user-centered person, It's about considering a lot of things, considering stakeholders, considering company policies, considering business models, considering market users, and all that in your little sphere of being a designer, right? That's exactly what makes you a good designer, And if you even look at it in the real life, it's actually what makes you a good person. Being able to really look people's needs, their pain points, as it were, you know, considering a lot of factors, putting a lot of things into your design. That's what makes you a very good designer. So I'll be talking about coordinating the thinking ideology today, and as much as possible to be fast. So much to talk about, but of course, we'll we'll definitely be mindful of time. So I'll just go straight up to the agenda for today. What's design thinking and user experience, the 5 pillars of design thinking, the need to coordinate DT, then design thinking from a UX perspective, going beyond core functionalities in user experience, and sharing a few thoughts, right? Of course, definitely when you design thinking is something that is quite popular within the design space, and then almost naturally, companies believe that this is like the holy grail to innovation, right? Some companies, you walk up to them and then they're like, okay, the design thinking is like a way to sort of solve a lot of problems with respect to innovation, with respect to collaboration and all that, right? But in some spaces, you really find out that design thinking didn't really work out the way some companies anticipated, right? Case in point, I was called upon to, you know, work on a particular product as a product developer for a company. And then within the company's space of design, it was all about design thinking, you know. And having worked with previous companies before, for them, they had taught them that yes, design thinking, that's all there is to designing and all that. So once you do this, pop, 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 you know, you're there. You're going to be innovative. You're going to be that and this, you know. But then coming into the process, I actually realized that was the first time the company was going to engage design on a very big scale, you know. So, but I found out that it was kind of a drag for the company. The product managers, you know, two of them actually were trying as much as possible to just you know, pull this thing off, and then each time they were entering into a loop over and over and over and over, and it was like taking a lot of time, resources for them. Design thinking, it was more like the design thinking got them into a loop rather than actually um, helping them out in the, you know, in the product process, right? So it was part of what actually brought that entire topic to mind, right? Coordinating the design thinking process, because in itself it's not regimented. Um, it's not a procedural thing. You're not going from one step to another, to another step, to another step, to another step. You need something to be able to pull this ideology together, right? You need something to pull this thing together, and then be able to really streamline it or tailor it to what can be useful to the company, and then at the same time able to create innovative products and you know, services, right, for companies. Yeah. So at its core, what is design thinking? Well, it's a human-centered approach. Of course, it's human-centered, creatively channeled towards creating solutions that combine what is humanly desirable with what's technologically feasible and economically viable, right? It's all about pulling a lot of strings together. No company wants to create something and then at the end of the day run at a loss, right? So for design, the design thinking approach is about helping the company to manage user expectations versus profits, right? And also being able to, out of a product, create something that could fit into a business model and will be futuristic, you know, technologically futuristic, right? And that's basically what the entire thing, design thinking, aims to achieve, right, for companies, so that your innovation will not just be useless, right? Because I found out that some people can be innovatively out of place. Um, I've worked with Mr. Moses, and one of the core things I've learned from Mr. Moses is how that the within the design space there are design principles, right? But then the design principles do not make you less innovative. They only help you to channel your innovation correctly, so that you are not doing something totally out of space, but then you are also doing something that is unique, right? So you are channeling your uniqueness and you bring all your intelligence together, pulling them together, and you're able to create something innovatively useful, right? Something innovatively useful. So I would just go on what's user experience. User experience is that cognitive and functional interaction that users have with products. It includes a person's perspective of utility, ease of use, and efficiency. A part of what consists a good user experience is reduced cognitive load. When a user is able to use your products effectively without you having to explain it to him right there, right? of course, you are creating something for something like Facebook. Facebook is being used by billions of people today. So imagine having to have customer care agents that billions of people will be calling every day to ask questions such as how am I using this? What does this symbolize? I'm trying to go to this place. I'm trying to send a message. I can't send a message on Facebook and all that. Imagine having to do that, billions of persons doing that, and then customer care service is going to just get so worn out, right? So good user experience is that your users will be able to use your product without you necessarily assisting them. That means you must have everything in place. You're not designing for yourself. You're designing for a market, right? So you need to put things together to be able to actually help your users have a good experience when they're using your product, right? So go through the design thinking process. Of course, I've already spoken about it. It's not a linear process, as it were. It's not regimented. It do this, do this, do this, do that, and then at the end of the day, you terminate here, right? It could be a lot more cyclical, in a way. So you go from empathize, where you actually get to know your users. You draw in things like empathy map. You're drawing you're understanding your
Um,
users. Yeah.
Miracle, I just
Yes,
wanted
I
to,
can
if
hear
you
you.
just go back, if you just go back to your previous slide,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm actually, I'll be quite interested just to hear from the designers, so when you're defining what design thinking, there are three things: humanly desirable, technologically feasible, and economically viable.
Yeah.
Um, and I wonder, like, how much effort as designers do we spend on assessing if this solution is economically viable? And the reason why I say that is that we see a lot of people, sharing some awesome designs on social media, and they look wow, at a glance. And
Yeah.
even when you're assigned to projects and you have to do some stuff, and we always have like dev guys, complaining um, about the feasibility and the economically aspect of the solution. That this thing, it will take like 6 months, and yeah. So yeah, I'm quite keen, to hear what designers think about that, and how much effort do we actually spend on assessing how economically a solution is. I think from a desirable perspective, there's also an easier judgment that is placed on the aesthetics of the design, and
Yeah.
I'm mentioning that because a lot of like young designers, even senior designers, they tend to fall into that trap, of misinterpreting what humanly desirable is, because yes, it's great to have something that looks awesome, that looks amazing, right? But I would like really, focusing on solving the problem that matters to humans, and yeah. So I'll be quite keen, for us just to touch on that, to actually talk about at some point. I don't know if you got if you're gonna come back to that point about what it actually means, or what is our understanding of humanly desirable. Yeah, because I think there's something that needs to be unpacked there, because there's value in understanding, the design thinking approach, and then there is value in understanding, the details that you need to execute for you to get better at it, right? So that you're able to address the core needs of the humans, so that you can have a humanly desirable solution. But anyways, let me pause. Yeah, if you can add something, great. If not, it's okay. you will probably strengthen the point as you go.
Okay. Going towards the end of this presentation, give a particular case study, right? Would answer
Sure.
the question of humanly desirable and economically viable, right?
Sure.
And
Thanks.
how the design thinking process actually helps. And the design thinking process to ensure that are humanly desirable and economically viable. I'm going to, there's a get to that case. I'm going to go back to this and then also
Sure. Thanks.
all right, Mr. Thank you. Moving forward, for a designer, definitely the 5 P's of design thinking is not going to be something weird. It's not a new thing. Advertise, define, idea, test. So I'm not going to spend so much time on this because something is already very popular within the design space. But I'm just going to touch on them just in case, right? Empathize, you get to know your users, know their pain points, understand them better, right? Of course, the entire process, the end game is you want to validate an idea, you want to validate a product, right? To even see if an idea is product worthy, right? You take every information that you've gathered at the empathy stage, because at the empathy stage you're trying to gather information, right? You are asking different questions. Sometimes companies will design Google Forms and then send it out there for different persons to fill. They go out there in the market to go ask different questions. They do a lot of market evaluation and things like that, just to understand exactly how this product or how this idea rather is going to fit into the market, how it's going to sound, right? And then you take everything that you have found out, right? All the information you've gathered so far, and defining is more like you're summarizing them into bits, right? And actually telling yourself, okay, these are the major problems that we found, that these are the problems that are consistent in the market. Then you begin to ideate in terms of expound your idea to solve this problem. So you at the point of ideating, you're doing a lot of brainstorming. You see teams gather together on tables, and then they are writing so many things and tearing papers up and down and all that. It's an activity-driven kind of moment for most companies, right? Most teams, from there you prototype. Of course, you create your from your low fidelity design, which sometimes you have to draw on paper and then push it up to some persons use different wireframing tools, wireframe.cc, Figma. A lot of things go into trying to prototype that particular idea to make it, just to create a little product out of it. Of course, the prototype itself is not the product. It's just a pseudo experience of what the actual product is going to look like, right? And then you go back to test. You test with actual users, and then of course the testing stage is also more like an empathy state, right? You're trying to also know exactly how this is going to fit the user and how it's going to affect the user in its usage, right? So the testing stage is also kind of you're empathizing with the user, right? And then you're going back and forth, ideating again, defining and doing a lot of prototyping. So you're going through a lot of circle, right, with design thinking. So it's not really ready. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're done. So that's why something like the Google's design sprint was designed by Google to to help coordinate those kind of the design thinking activity to just for 5 days, right? Something like the agile method and even the business model canvas. Some of those things you have design thinking within their core, right? Within the core of their frameworks, you have design thinking very much embedded right there, right? So, so I'll just go a bit further to the next slide. Design thinking from a US perspective, case in point, the pension wallet. Now, seeing how that design thinking goes from you're going from one space to another space, you're going round around the circle. For a UX designer, you know your users. This time around, you're working with companies. I'm just giving this example, for this particular case in point, which is the pension. So you're working with companies, they have stakeholders and then product owners and actual market users and software developers, right? Those are your users. Because I found I included software developers here, just like what Mr. Mpatumi pointed out. You see a lot of designs out there, and software developers are like, no, these ones are really, really not serious, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't. Yeah.
Mirago? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, there's a comment from Brian Kumalo, and
Okay.
I just want, you can jump in. Happy to add. Currently, so he's a current second year design student at university, and he's saying that testing and assessing the design is hard. Some things look nice, desirable, but they won't work when they go out to the real world.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I found that. Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right. So,
yeah, sure. You can respond.
Okay. I think someone is asking a question that my.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. My audio was lagging. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think
it's fine now, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think it's fine because yeah.
Okay. All right. So, for Mr. Brian's question about looking into some nice designs, but they actually will not work when it goes out to the world, right? To the real world. That's one of the reasons why every designer needs to understand his user before just throwing up some designs, right? Because what validates your design? It's not just your aesthetics, right? It's not just how beautiful your designs look and how catchy those icons are, and how animated they are, but it's actually how will this design fit into real world experiences, right? So a lot of companies spend a lot of money trying to bring up products, but they have not really accessed the market. In fact, we suffer that a lot in Africa, right? Where I found out that within the African space, the design process is not really something that it's not really something that we pay attention to, right? Most startups just have an idea, right? Or they have ideas, and then they think they have the money, right? So they just jump into developing these ideas, right? And at the end of the day, they have spent a lot of money developing something that won't work in a real market, within the market space, right? It's very important. Africans need to be patient, right? Because the design process is actually one that is patient. It requires time. It requires good collaboration. It requires good patience. You can have a very good idea, and your timing of that idea may not be now, right? Because ideas don't just fly; they also need time. Okay. A case in point is something like Zoom, right? Of course, there was Google Meet before. We had things like Skype, for video calling and video conferencing and things like that. But when the COVID-19 hit the whole world really hard, you saw how the usage of these tools really increased because everyone went remote. Companies started policies that would fit remote work, right? And post COVID-19, we are still here, and the remote policies are still standing, right? For someone who created Zoom before COVID-19, entering into COVID-19 became a very big. The entire world became a big market for Zoom, right? So understanding that ideas thrive with time and ideas thrive as a result of good market research, good marketing is very, very important for designers and for companies in general. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, sure. No, thanks. I'm gonna also display another comment. This is from Pablo Ncholo, saying that interesting point, and I think there are two things you can do here to mitigate the issues. One is conduct collaborative heuristic evaluations with your design team, and the second one is to conduct usability tests with real users. So I think I'm just going to share that, and in the interest of time, I will let you to continue. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, so for a UX, within the UX perspective for the design thinking process, you know your users, you're trying to paint a picture of your company to the world. So your company is part of your users at this time, right? You know your company, you know your business, the business model for this company. The users, some of them for this pension wallet, for instance, some of them probably have not even used technology throughout their time of working, like in Nigeria, where a lot of government agencies are not really technologically driven. So you have and they are not so technologically savvy. So you have to put that in perspective, right? Part of knowing your users, and you define precise about how to marry your market users versus your company. Market users and business model sometimes can be a very should I use the word funny drag designer. Not just a product, for a product manager, right? How to market expectations and what we translate into a company business model at the end of the day is really something that will, strike the balance. So you brainstorm and then you do your normal designs, your low fidelity and high fidelity designs, do your testing with your market users, and of course with companies, the company you're working for, stakeholders, software developers. I don't like removing software developers from this space because they're always removed from the space. Yes, Mr. Mpatumi.
So Miracle, thanks for sharing the perspective, the Nigerian perspective. I'm not sure if Success can jump in just to share some insights, just to, share the level of appetite when it comes to adopting, design thinking in the UK, and maybe some of the challenges that you've faced and opportunities.
Thank you so much for the privilege, and also thank you, Mr. Miracle. I don't know, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
All right. Here in UK, there are problem in design space, as much as it's geographically in terms of geographical, it will be unique to each geography. Like Bramerico was saying earlier on, like in Nigeria, the level of exposure with technology is a bit different than that in UK, and as such, the experiences here is a bit different from that in Nigeria. And so we, one of the things you get to experience here with the people here is getting users to commit to what is already in the market, because there are already some big shot in the market in terms of technology. So it's the competitiveness in the market that is one, the issue here, and also how to get that relevance, because there's so many technical big technical giant here in UK that have gained dominant stroke presence, and getting users to switch from what they're already used to or something that they've gained they've used over time is a bit challenging. So sometimes we have to come in a way that they are not used to, or in the way that they have not previously experienced, and that could be like having a concept, something similar to this, to create an awareness, and also let people know that okay, as good as this other product is, you can have something similar and better, with better experience, of which the essence of design thinking is built around, which is the 5 pillars, to give users something that is easy to work with, and so something that is also very, very relaxing, because study design in the unit 2 as well. One of the core concepts we're taught is an idea that gives users time for other things. So we cannot bring in something into the market that takes time from the user. Every user out there, every product user out there just wants something that is very easy to handle, something easy to work with, and at the same time move on with their daily expectation and opportunities and appointments. So you realize that like the case study America was bringing about here, which is the pension wallet for here in the UK, is not so much an issue here in the UK. So for here in the UK, one of the things here is getting users to accept something that is new, that they are not used to technically. Okay, like he made an instance with the pandemic. A lot of things erupted in the pandemic, and one of the such is that okay.
No, that's fine. No, thanks. Thanks for that perspective. And do you mind jumping in? I'm just quite curious, like for us to share, our experiences and challenges and opportunities.
Okay, Grace, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so experiences. Well, being a product manager, part of the things that I have got to experience using the design thinking process. So for product managers, moving from strategy to scope, scope of the project, right? The roadmap prioritization, the data analysis, and all that. One of the things I've actually experienced, I've had, working with a whole lot of designers, and also being a product manager myself. I got to realize that, sometimes we don't prioritize research a lot, right? We don't take out time to, get both the qualitative and the quantitative data from the users you're going to be working with, right? So every product is, just think about an idea, how beautiful an idea is, the fact that it sounds amazing to the team. So the team just want to execute the idea. Right, the software engineers just want to work on the product, and we just want to go into the market, right? But spending a lot of time to do a whole lot of research, right? Prioritizing research, taking time to get the data from the field would help. You get to basically that's part of the things. Part of the problems I have actually experienced as regards, working as a product. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I think there was a bit of an issue there, but I think we got your point. Thanks a lot. And I'm gonna ask Miracle to move on to the next slide, and please come back if you feel that you need to add more. Sure.
Okay.
Medical?
All right. I saw a statement by Pabalo, and she said research is the most important step. Prioritizing which problems to solve first is very important, and that is absolutely true. And I think that's one thing that the market in Africa ought to start companies in Africa ought to start embracing, so that we won't always have to go back and forth with solutions that are not working, or spending so much resources on solutions that we get to the market and then we're wondering why did we even get here in the first place. All right. So moving on, the need to coordinate this design thinking, that user-centeredness is achieved, ensuring that business models and requirements are well met, and also ensuring that teams are functional in every sense, ensuring that design thinking is not just some linear regime, right? You just go in from one spot to another spot, and then even sometimes entering into that cyclic thing could be a very big drag for even companies. Ensuring the highest point of flexibility with product owners and users, right? I think we've spoken about that, at some point during the course of this. And I just take a statement, a quote rather, a business quote. Every business wants the maximization of resources for the creation of sustainable structures within possible feasible cost. So you're not just maximizing, you're not just talking about resources here. You're not just talking about money. You're talking about human resources, time, right? You're maximizing these things to ensure that you're creating something useful, and you're also doing this within feasible costs, right? Like we said, the whole idea is how can you create businesses, right, from products, and then of course, you can't create business from products if those products are not human centered, if they're not satisfying human needs, right? That's why research is absolutely very important. I'm going to come back to this case study, this case in point, which was a personal experience in developing a learning management system for BCS, and that's what's going to answer the question with respect to human desirable and humanity rather, and economically viable products. I'm going to come back to it very, very soon. Let me just move on because of time. Ensuring that design thinking works well. How do you ensure that it works? How do you coordinate these activities? How do you make these things something that will work well? For me, from a personal experience, I found out that one of the things that companies do is that they have an idea, so they have a product, and then they just kickstart into design thinking, right? It's almost like a how do I call it? A reactive measure to innovation. So design thinking for some companies is a reactive measure to innovation. So you have an idea. The first thing you are doing is to react into design thinking. However, if you create design thinking as more to be a proactive measure, it's going to work well. So part of the things I put down here is have a team of people who are constantly dedicated to learning design processes and ensuring that these processes are refined and well tailored to suit every new product, right? So you have a team. You should always have a team on ground that you're training that are constantly into design processes, whether or not you have products or you have ideas on ground. But you have these guys, they're just a team of guys who are building themselves in collaboration, building themselves in research, building themselves in ensuring that they are working around the design thinking processes effectively, developing design processes, around design thinking, whether or not you have an idea, right? Like I said,
Yeah.
companies are innovating, right? And you need to constantly be there, pushing your borders and not waiting to have an idea before you go into the design thinking process. So the design
Yeah.
thinking
So
process should not be a reactive measure. Yes, I can hear you, Mr.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. No, I just wanted to add on to what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Because I want to highlight this. There is the importance of understanding a process that you can employ that will help you, to have a clear approach when it comes to solving a problem and finding a solution
Yeah.
for it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about design. I mean, following the design thinking process, right? But I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. Well, although it is a bad thing, to just try to follow the process, because design thinking is not going to force you to be obsessed about understanding the customer's problem. And as designers, we should be like more intentional about being obsessed about understanding the problem, more than we try to spend more time ideating the solution. Because it's very, very exciting for designers, I know, to start jumping into solution mode, but to actually spending like more time trying to understand, like deeply what really the problem is, right? And try to understand, the humans that we're designing for. And because like a lot of like companies, they work, in an agile approach where there's like a sprint could be defined to be like a, you know 2 weeks long, right? And you might not necessarily have enough time, right? And I think it would be worth us talking about, maybe we need to set up like one of those sessions, to talk about how can you efficiently get to understand the problem, and how can you efficiently get to understand the human that you're designing for, so that within that, like 2 week turnaround time, right? Because now you won't have the luxury of having to conduct like proper research for every, like journey that you design, because that's like the reality of the world that we operate in, right?
Yeah.
And finding efficient ways to use the process to guide you, being able to use
Yeah.
like data driven, making data driven decisions, knowing where to go,
Yeah.
using the analytics, being able to grab the research that you can find online that will supplement your understanding, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, as much as we like now, I think we've got like, the space is maturing. I think it is matured in
Mm-hmm.
terms of companies appreciating, the value that the design team brings, but there's still a huge problem when it comes actually delivering that desirable, solution,
Yeah.
within being, the budget, the time and the resources, right? And yeah, I mean, like that's like the next big challenge that we're facing, and yeah, I think it would be worth actually, maybe covering some, content around that at some point. But anyways, I thought let me just like add to that, just so that
Yeah.
because I want people when they walk out of this session today, to really understand what matters, you know, and yes, there's Web3. People are like excited, and they end up like trying to design a desirable human solution, which doesn't really
Yeah.
address the core, you know. But anyways, let me pause.
All right. So,
Sure.
thank you very much, Mr. Putumi.
Yeah.
That was a very good one. African designers, we need to be very proactive, right? We need to be very proactive. Like mentioned, we need to be research driven, right? We need to be ahead of time. we are always trying to be a cat race, every now and then in our design space, but we need to do better than that, right? To ensure that some of these things work, we need to have solutions ahead of time, even before we have trying to bring these ideas into products. And part of the things I said should be flexible enough to think outside the thinking box, right? The design thinking in its core, it's more like just an ideology, right? Creating one major issue that I found out for that particular company that I shared before now, at the beginning of this section, was that the company was just all about design thinking. Design thinking needs to be a process. We need to do the design thinking process. We need to do this, and we need to, the design thinking itself it's not a process, right? We need to understand that we need to be able to coordinate the entire design thinking ideology. We need to setting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 process steps that would help us to effectively manage this entire ideology of design thinking, so we won't always end up in a loop every now and then, right? And then we must be patient. That's a lot. We must be patient enough in product development. We must be very patient. It's not about jumping into something and then jumping out of it. You don't understand your users. You don't even understand if it's going to work. You need to be pushing. You need to be patient. You need to be procedural in your design approach, right? Very, very procedural in your own design approach. As you do your company trying to match your users' expectations versus company models, you need to be very, very patient with it, right? The next one, or the last I'm going to talk about, is going beyond functionalities and user experience. Everyone knows about the Google Chrome T-Rex game as a dinosaur for Google Chrome. Going beyond core functionalities. Sometimes in our design approach, we are always very much interested in core functionalities. So we're going from stage down to, and all the entire thing for us from MVP stage to further improvements, bringing versions of the products. Or it's just about core functionalities. Sometimes being able to think even beyond core functionalities is also very important in user experience. The Google T-Rex game is not necessarily core functionality in terms of browsing, but then I found out that outside your net, when you have issues with network, you just have this game pop up. Children were willing to use
Hi guys, Success and can you hear me?
Yeah, I think he's having network issue from his end. I can
Okay,
hear
okay.
quite right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, no, it's fine. I think let's just give him like a couple of seconds. Let's see if he comes back. Otherwise, we are about to close. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, guys, it's 4 o'clock in South Africa, and it would have been great if Miracle could officially close the session. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's joined us, and so the aim is to connect, inspire, and build an African design community. And so we want to hear from different voices across like Africa. I want us to share our own stories, and like we've got exciting, topics that we're gonna be covering. And yeah, so if you just like follow, our page, or if you go to YouTube, you will see, the list of events we have. And yeah, so I mean, I think this is getting like exciting and interesting, to get like diverse views from the different designers, right? So yeah, I mean, we've got said a lot of events lined up. There's one coming next week about design dissonance when form and function collide. Then we've got user adoption funnel, value sensitive design by Pablo. And we have like how service design improves customer experience. And yeah, we're gonna go back to artificial intelligence and using machine learning to showcase some use cases for designers. Yeah, I'll be covering that topic. And I got a specialist from India that has been in the space. So yeah, looking forward, to share some exciting, design concepts with you guys. And I mean, there's a lot more. And I think I want us to be able to share more design concepts, that will showcase the capability of AI and ML. And also we have an interesting, topic, that's going to come up later about behavioral design. We've got the future of UX design early next year. So I'd love for you guys to prepare and share, from your own plans, for the year, for the companies that you're working with, so that you're working for, what the future of design looks like for you, and what are like the core things that you guys will need to be focusing on. And also we're going to be talking about Web3, how to design for Web3. And yeah, because we've seen a lot of movement and interest in Web3. And next year, I'll be also like sharing a lot that is happening in the space. And also I'll be getting like people who are involved in the space, because I don't want us to talk theoretically, about this. I want us to start like sharing some, use cases. And also I want to get more like technical guys and to come into the space, so that we don't have like these like discussions, technical discussions of designers in isolation, but also to have them, with people that have got, a deeper understanding. So yeah, thanks a lot. So please, reach out to us, go to our YouTube channel, Experience Design, subscribe, let us know about the content, that you're sharing. And also if you want to present a topic, please, reach out to us. And yeah, we are fully booked for October, November, December, January, February. And the available slots will be now, next year, 2023, in March going forward. So yeah, and we hope to see you guys next week, same time. And yeah, have an awesome week, guys. Thanks a lot. Cheers. And yeah, thank you to our guest, Success and and thanks to Miracle.
Thank you
Cheers,
so
guys.
much.
All
Yeah,
right.
cheers.
Thank you.
Sure.